So if you wanted to use Hello World app in another program, you could call, you would include, or import, I think it's called, import the Hello World app class. Then you could create a variable called hello that would be a Hello World app type, and that would instance this x to 0. So anytime you create a version of the Hello World app in this other program, you would have the one variable assigned to it that is 0. And then you get the single function called sample method, which is just an example, obviously. It's public, so anybody that has created a Hello World app type would be able to use this sample method because it's public, and it's going to return a type of integer, which means that it's going to return a number, and it's going to be a whole number. It's not going to return a decimal, and it takes, and you would be able to pass it another integer. So I could, as an example, I could create a Hello World app in another program, and then I could run sample method with a 5 in parentheses, and it would return, in this case it would return 5, but if I set this to 1, this would return 6. So that's what it's set up for us. It's all rather simple. I mean, this is the most basic things you need to make a class. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in the function I need for this to actually run on its own. We're going to make it a public function. It's going to be static, and it's going to be void. And void specifies that it's not going to return anything. And we're going to call it main. I'm going to come back to that in a second. Main is a reserved word. Ooh, nice, actually. It does that. And when you compile the program, it looks for this keyword, main, and it knows to run that. So that is the core of any program that you're writing in Java. You need to be able to actually have that. If you don't have that, then all you've done is create a class. It won't actually run anything on its own. You can use it in other programs, but it'll just be there to store information. And it is going to take a string, and it's been recommended that people usually put args in there. Args stands for arguments. So if you were actually to call this program once it's compiled, you could give it a dash and then a variable name, and that variable would come in with whatever value it has after it, would come in this args variable. I'm using the word variable too many times, most likely, and that way you can actually use it in your program. So if I wanted to call Hello World app and then dash, and let's do dash x, for example, I could set the value x. You know, if we wrote that in here, but we're not going to. This is all a test. All right. So the core of this is system.out. System is another reserved word. It refers to the system that's running the actual program. Out means that you are accessing the output function of system. And then the specific function is println. Println is to print a line, hello world. You end that, and then do that. Okay, so it's saved. Hopefully, what we're going to see here when I compile it is it's going to bring up some form of console, and our lovely little program is going to say hello world. And all of this at the moment is going to be unused because we don't have anything to use it yet. Alright, so, well, let's close that real quick here. Let's see what compile does. Compiling done. That is fantastic. Can you tell me how I get my results? Compile selected, rebuild package. I am not actually sure how to run this, to be honest. Create jar file. What are these even? Insert uses inheritance, compile, all compiled. So that's just a compiler. So all that does is it sets it. But I actually want to view it, and I was hoping this would allow me to run it so I could see the results. Oh, maybe, oops. I'm not positive what I just clicked there. Show code pad. Okay, there it is. Show terminal. Here we go. Clear screen of method call, record method calls. Alright, so what if I compile it now? Does that actually let me do this? No. I am sorry that this is probably a little uninteresting. This is something I should have played with, but I ran out of time, unfortunately. Add classes to file, new uses arrow, new inheritance arrow. No, none of those are really what I want. Can I... This doesn't do anything. Oh, screen went black again for me. I wonder if that's actually someone following. If that was someone following, thank you for following. I'm still playing around with OBS. It's not entirely functioning the way I would like it to, and it's making the screen black for a second. I'm trying to figure all this out. I'm still very new to this. I apologize, but I'm gonna try and get this to. There we go. It came back on my screen. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm going to have to... Hopefully as I play around with this, we'll figure it out. And just get that to stop from happening, because it's no good. What is that? That's that. So this is really just to... Or do I have to do this, maybe? Name of instance. Let's see what this does. Show static fields. This is just an inspect. It's the sample method. Here's all the inherited. These are all functions that you get just for being a class. I want to remove it. What if I do this? Ah, there it is. Okay. So to run it, we right-click on it and click on the function we want to run. Here's where we get the option to insert all of the variables we want to run, which in this case there's none. And then when you click OK, this is where it prints it out. Sure thing, Elite Unit. I'll get that to you. Of course, you'll probably see it before you hear me say it, but there it is. All right, so that is. Let's reopen that. This is the most basic, right here, the most basic program you can make. It is the Hello World program. And I do hope, I'm just scanning this now, I do hope that this is legible in the video. If not, I apologize. It's again, it's a simple program. You can look up Hello World, and that will get you how to make this in any language available. Like there's C++ and Perl and all sorts of languages that you can write this in. And that did not actually take as long as I might have thought. So we are going to do a couple of things, because I need to remember how to do some of these things. Oh, not print, private int, and let's make some variables here. And we're going to make this equal to 8, and then private. Is it string? It's actually It's been a long time since I've done this. There's a string class, and I am not remembering what it is. And it might be something that I need to import at the top here. and it might be something that's built in, but it's been like I said, it's been a long time, and it might just be that I'm spelling it wrong. Let's see if is that it. So this might be. So let's see. I'm looking at the method and everything on the class on the other screen. So I do apologize. That's a little boring over here. It's not coloring it, but you know what? Let's compile it. Oh, what did I do wrong? Illegal start of an expression. Do I not? I might not need to put that there. That might be assumed to be private. Let's do, oh, and that's also string username. Let's do that. No syntax errors. Perfect. Okay, good. That still ran. So now what we're going to do, I think I bumped that to the back. No? There it is. Okay, now I figured it was string. I just I'm so out of practice I couldn't remember. And then Java is case sensitive to anyone who didn't know, which means, and I'm going to write this in here and then I'm going to delete it, which means string is not equal to string, is not equal to string, is not equal to string. These are all considered to be different in Java, and it's because they have different capitalizations. So that's something you really need to keep track of, because if you mess that up, like if I just did this as string, this would cause an error. And I would look at this and go, but I have it right. That's the name of the function. And it doesn't matter because it's case sensitive. Yeah, and as integer is int, decimal, if you want a decimal place, it's type double, and then there's a boolean, which is true or false. It's only ever true or false. And that's actually called boolean. Let me spell that out so you can see that real quick. Boolean. Alright, so anyway, we have our string, we have our integer, we have our hello world function. So let's copy that, paste it, and now we're going to do some string concatenation. To do that, we're going to do hello, and then I believe Java does this with a plus, and we're going to do hello username. Now what this should do, but assuming the plus is right in this instance, is it should do hello Dagenham. So let's compile it, and then let's run it. Hello Dagenham. There we go. Okay, good to know. Now we're going to do one more, except in this case we're going to do two string concatenations. We're going to do username, if I can spell it right, plus a space, or plus a space, plus has space, plus z, plus tickets, and quotes. So what this should now do is it should say user Dagenham has 8 tickets. There we go. It's like riding a bike. Okay. And of course we can modify this even further. We can say, just so people know what this is, user. And we have to keep track of these spaces because it won't add those in. If I took those out, it would just it would crush it all together and it would be illegible. And well, this at the moment isn't really all that useful because we have Z here and Dagenham here. I mean, this isn't, Nobody else wants to know how many tickets Dagenham has. They want to know how many they have.